Hello everyone, this is Sean from Hammersim. It has been a little while since I posted a video because I've been quite busy. Here is a 1600 point game I had last week, Vampire Counts versus High Elves. Hope you enjoy. We randomized terrain and this is the configuration. There's a very well defensible area towards the north of the map, and my opponent won the deployment row, so he's going to be deploying on that side, whereas I've got the Temple of Skulls on my side. Let's see if I can make use of it. From left to right, his army has 13 Sisters of Avalon, 2 Great Eagles in one unit, a big unit of Spearmen, 42 strong, full command, and I think he's got a magical banner which is the Gleaming Pennant. Next to them, he's got a unit of 19 White Lions, full command, and then next to them is a single Great Eagle. As for characters, he has a Archmage inside the Spearman unit, level 4. He also has a Battle Standard Bearer who's a Noble. And in the Sisters Avalon, he's got a level 1 Mage. I think they are both running High Elf spells. As for my deployment, I've got 2 units of direwolves, 5 strong each. They're vanguarded up, as you can see. I have 2 Spirit Host swarms. I have a 32 strong zombie unit, the standard and musician with a Khan Wraith character in there. Another unit of 32 strong zombies. A unit of 30 zombies, which also has my general in there. He's a level 4 necromancer. I have given him a 4+ ward save, as well as a dispel scroll. Next to that unit is 24 Graveguard, full command, running the Banner of Barrels, as well as my White King BSB, and a unit of Crypt Horrors, 7 strong with a champion. They're both on that hill which has a Temple of Skulls, and I want to pray to the Chaos Gods and see what happens. And here are a couple of photos at deployment. I have been getting a lot of requests to post photos along with my battle reports. This particular match I didn't really do many good photos, so I probably won't post too many, but in the future battle reports I will have some as my army comes together and gets painted. And this is a shot of my spells with my level 4 wizard. I got Raise Dead, Curse of Ears, Van Hell's Dance, Macabre, and I changed my level 2 row to an Invocation of the Heck, which is my signature spell. And on to turn 1. Before anything happens, at the beginning of my turn, both champions I have in the Graveguard as well as the Crypt Horror unit pray to the Gods of Chaos, and I roll a d6 for each one of those. Unfortunately, I rolled a 1 for the Crypt Horrors, so their unit champion dies, gets sacrificed, but my Graveguard Sergeant ends up getting 7 toughness as a result, so I'm really liking it so far and hoping to get him into a challenge. So in my movement phase, all of my units move up except for the Direwolf unit number 1. The reason behind that is if he gets charged by the Great Eagle, I think I can countercharge with the Crypt Horrors the next turn, so just leaving them where they are. Direwolf unit number 2 gets out of the line of sight of the shooting unit that my opponent has on the hill and ready for a flank charge if he doesn't do something about it. In my magic phase, I only get 1 spell off, but it happens to be a good one. I managed to get a 12-inch bubbled Van Hells off, so all of those units inside the yellow circle, or at least touching the yellow circle, gets to do an extra move. High off turn 1, my opponent protects the Sisters of Avalon by planting 2 Great Eagles in my path. He then moves the Sisters forward a little bit to get into shooting range of some of my units. He flies the other Great Eagle on the other side of his army over my infantry and preps it for a rear charge on my infantry. And the White Lions reform, then shuffle back slightly so that they're a little bit further away from me. I don't think I can charge him next turn. During my opponent's magic phase, he ends up getting an irresistible cast of Fiery Convocation off on my Graveguard, which really sucks because I got a Dispel Scroll ready and I had plenty of Dispel dice in this phase, but I wasn't able to use it. And for his miscast, all he did was injure 1 elf that was around him because he quite smartly put his Archmage right in the corner of the unit, so only 3 elves were in base contact with him. They suffer strength 10 hits. He ends up making ward saves or something like that, but basically he got a spell off with almost no harmful effects to him irresistibly. He also got a Tempest off on my zombie unit number 2. He didn't roll very well on the scatter, I think, and still managed to kill about 1/3 of them though. And then his Sisters of Avalon shoots my Spirit Host dead. Now, I had made a really large tactical error on my behalf. When we were deploying, I don't remember my opponent saying that the Sisters of Avalon had magical attacks. I think he did say it, but I didn't remember it or didn't hear it, or something was happening and I didn't realize that all the ethereal stuff I have on that flank is pretty much going to be useless now. In my turn 2, this is how I move up. I get my Direwolf unit number 2 out of his Grey Eagle's line of sight, but unfortunately I think he'd be able to move out of my charging arc next turn with his Sisters of Avalon. I move my Khan Wraith out of the zombie unit number 1, trying to pressure the Sisters of Avalon, maybe force a terror check if I get a charge off next turn, but I don't hold high hopes of that Khan Wraith surviving. Everything else moves up. The Crypt Horrors move right alongside the flank of the White Lions, and then I reform my Direwolf unit number 1 to face his Grey Eagles just in case. Just preparing for eventualities. And then in my magic phase, I get a cast off on a single unit Van Hells on my Graveguard, and I end up moving them right up as well. Turn 2 High Elves. I think I forced my opponent's hand here by moving my Graveguard and Crypt Horrors up so much. He has to charge me this turn, otherwise I'm going to get 2 charges off on him next turn. So he does that, and he charges the Grey Eagle into the rear as well of the Graveguard. On the other side of the map, his Great Eagle unit number 1 forms around here, putting my Direwolf unit number 2 into a really bad position, and then the Sisters turn and face the Khan Wraith, and they're going to shoot him dead. In his magic phase, again, he gets a Tempest off on my zombie unit number 3. Doesn't do a huge amount of damage, luckily, and then the Sisters do shoot that Khan Wraith to a pulp. In the hand-to-hand combat, I challenge with my toughness 7 hero, and he accepts with his champion, but unfortunately his champion's wielding a great weapon, so strength 6, toughness 7, he rolled well enough to kill me, which really sucks because I thought that toughness 7 champion might have done a little bit better. Now, something I forgot about when I charged in there was he's got the Banner of the World Dragon on that unit, which gives him 2+ ward saves against magical attacks. And my White King is holding a magical sword, which is giving him extra attacks. And now he's got 2+ ward saves against my White King, which sucks. So I don't do a lot of wounds, but one thing I do manage to do, luckily for me, is I hit back at his eagle with 3 Graveguard. I managed to wound with all 3 Graveguard, killing it outright. So as far as I know, I don't think he gets the rear charging bonus because there's no one in my rear, even though he started off the round with it. So I'm pretty sure about that rule, but not 100%. So if I've played it badly here, please comment below, or at least confirm that I played the rule correctly if you can. But it wouldn't have made any difference to this particular battle, because I ended up winning by, I think, 2 or 3 combat resolutions. So that extra 2 combat wouldn't have affected the result. And he passes this leadership with the White Lions because they're stubborn. Another thing I wasn't aware of at the time when I got charged. So yeah, I survived the initial charge, which is quite good for me, and he unfortunately lost his eagle. In my turn 3, I charge my Crypt Horrors into the side of the White Lions, so I should be able to win there, but because he's stubborn, which I didn't take into account, he's probably going to hold me up for quite a while. All my other units just shift around a little bit, and I try to get into the position with my Spirit Host to get a charge off on his Sisters, but they're probably going to get shot to shit. I did push zombie unit number 1 up a little bit further, hoping to tempt him into a charge with a Spearman. The reasoning behind that is if part of his Spearman unit is still inside the river, he doesn't get rank bonuses, which would be quite good for me. In my magic phase, I get a very large cast of Evocation of the Heckoff with my general. I think I might have irresistibly casted it, but I didn't really suffer too much as a consequence, I think. A couple of zombies around me got blown up, but that's fine. A lot of zombies came back from that in all 3 units, so they're substantially more reinforced. My Graveguard got boosted, so a lot of their, most of their numbers are back now, and my Crypt Horrors got their champion back. So yeah, it was a very good magical round for me. Oh, and I forgot to mention in my previous magic phase, I had to burn my Dispel Scroll on the Fiery Evil Convocation that still remains in play on my Graveguard unit. I didn't want them to suffer another round of Strength 4 hits before going into combat, so I just made sure that I dispelled it with a scroll. I also got a large Van Hells off on everything around 12 inches of my general, so both the Graveguard as well as the Crypt Horror unit are going to benefit from rerolls to hits. During close combat, I actually didn't do that well in it. I think I missed a lot of my attacks and then missed my rerolls as well, so I only killed 7 of those white lines with all the attacks that I had, which isn't great, and worse yet, my White King BSB suffered a single wound from the unit attacking at him. And here's a photo of that particular combat. Excuse the poor looking terrain and the unpainted figures. We're still getting a lot of our gaming stuff set up right now, so hopefully as we are bringing out more games to you, they'll start looking better and better. High Elf turn 3, he charges my Direwolf unit number 2 up in that top left corner of the screen. The Sisters of Avalon move forward again, ready to shoot at the Spirit Host, and now he's moved his General, the Archmage, onto the other side of his Spearman unit, and yeah, that's it for his movement. In his magic phase, he gets Fiery Convocation off on my zombie unit number 1. Now you can see how large that zombie unit is at the moment. I think they're 55 or something ridiculous strong right now, and with that one spell he ends up killing 3/4 of them, and the sisters annihilate the last of my Spirit Host. Up in the top left corner, the Eagles don't actually do a lot against my Direwolves. I think they missed all of their attacks luckily, and they only killed a couple with their stomps. In hand-to-hand combat, my White King BSB goes down. Too many great weapon attacks at him. I probably should have protected him a little bit better. Not only that, but I left one model remaining on the White Line unit, which sucks because he's stubborn leadership. So again, I'm held in place. I really need my 2 units to finish this unit off and then be able to hit the Spearman unit as quickly as possible. Vampire count turn 4, I charge my zombie unit number 2 into a Spearman, thinking that I can hold them there and they can't participate in any other fighting until they kill all the zombies first. Now I can't remember exactly because it was a week ago, but I don't think I did anything in this particular magic phase. In the hand-to-hand combat, top left corner, the Great Eagles versus Direwolves, or what's remaining of my Direwolf unit, they easily kill the remaining 2 Direwolves, I believe. And on the top right corner, the Graveguard and Crypt Horrors easily finish off the last remaining White Lion. So next turn I should be able to charge his Spearman from the flank. Now in the close combat between the Spearmen and the zombies, I think I end up fluffing most of my attacks, and he ends up doing about 10 or 12 wounds to me through both combat resolution as well as normal attacks. In High Elf turn 4, my opponent shifts Great Eagle unit number 1 up, trying to get them involved in the fighting. The Sisters of Avalon move back a little bit so that they can't be charged by the zombies, and his Lord moves to the side close to the river. During the magic and shooting phase, he focuses all of his spells and shooting at my zombie unit number 1, killing every single one of them. And in hand-to-hand combat, again, I think I might have done a few wounds, but I don't remember, so I didn't mark them on this photo here. But he ended up doing a huge amount of damage to my zombies, and with combat resolution, I think 14 or 13 zombies die as a result. Vampire counts turn 5. Now I get to hit the Spearman unit, or so I thought. I declared a charge with my Crypt Horrors, and they failed the charge pretty badly, because I think I only needed a 5 or a 6 maybe to get in, and I rolled a 3, a 1 and a 2 on 2 dice, so they shuffle forward 2 inches. All my other unit just moves around the corner, trying to engage the other Elven units coming from the left-hand side of the map. In my magic phase, my opponent ends up dispelling my evocation on the heck. I was trying to increase the size of zombie unit number 2 to make him last longer against the Spearman, but that got dispelled. However, I do get a raised dead off in the river, and I end up raising, I think, 10 zombies from my general there, and they're going to threaten the other side of the Sisters of Avalon. In hand-to-hand combat, again, my zombies get their ass handed to them by the Elven Spearmen, and as you would expect, because they're fighting 3, maybe 4 ranks deep at the moment, and they got rerolls to hit, always strike first. Yeah, the zombies don't stand a chance. High Elf turn 5, again, my opponent protects the flank of the Sisters of Avalon with his Great Eagles. Now, I think he makes a fairly bad mistake here, because he doesn't move his Archmage anywhere. He keeps opposite him right against the river, and he's well within charge range of my direwolf unit number 1, but he doesn't realize this right now. He again focus fires during his magic phase and shooting phase against my zombie unit number 3. I think he ends up killing all but 3 of the models inside, as well as my general. In the hand-to-hand combat with the spearmen and the zombies, he smashes the last of the zombies and then reforms to a narrower unit with bigger number of ranks to face my incoming infantry. Turn 6 for vampire counts is all or nothing. I do as many charges I can possibly declare. So my zombie unit number 4, which is the newly risen one, goes into his Great Eagles. I'm doing that just to protect my other units from his Great Eagles. I don't want to get flank or rear charged, although I don't think he can reach any of them from his position. The direwolf unit number 1 charges into my opponent's general, and the 2 units, Graveguard and Crypt Horrors, go into the spearmen. So I'm feeling fairly confident about this. I also take my general out of my zombie unit number 3 and put them behind my large blocks of infantry, just so that they don't get shot at by the Sisters of Avalon. In my magic phase, I get a Curse of Years off on the spearmen. However, I don't roll very well. Might have killed 5 or 6 models. So yeah, every little bit helps, but I thought that wasn't a great roll on my part. In the combat between the zombies and the Great Eagles, not much to speak of happens. He kills a few zombies. I maybe do a wound to him. In the main fight here on the hill, a lot happens. I end up doing a fair few wounds on his spearman unit, but he ends up passing leadership because he had a standard bearer and he had 2 chances at it, so they stayed on the map. He didn't actually wound me very much at all from memory. On the left hand side of this picture, my direwolves ended up charging over that river into his lord. I did 2 wounds to his lord, and he only did 1 back. The other wound from the direwolves is from the dangerous terrain test. The last turn of the game, High Elf turn 6, he moves the Sisters of Avalon up, but there's not much in line of sight, so he ends up shooting the zombie unit number 3 dead. There was only 3 models there, so in the close combat phase, my remaining direwolves ends up killing his general, which is great for me. His Great Eagles finish off the zombies on the other side, and then in the main combat I do a huge amount of wounds to him. I kill his BSB with my Crypt Horror champion, and then enough wounds that he needed an insane courage roll to be able to stay in place. He doesn't do it, and I chase him off the board. So this is what the board looked like at the end of turn 6. And this is the victory points breakdown. As you can see, a very comfortable victory by the vampire counts, fairly close to a solid in fact. So here are my thoughts about the game. I think my opponent got off a little bit unlucky in some of the combats there. If you remember, in his turn 2, he charged me from front and rear against my Graveguard with his White Lions and Eagles. He ended up not doing very many wounds to me, and his Great Eagle also got killed outright by I think I only swung 3 times at him with the 3 models I had in the back rank, and I ended up doing all hits and then all wounds, and his Eagle died, so he didn't get the rear bonus from that. Also, his Great Eagle unit number 1 on the top left flank couldn't kill my direwolves quick enough to reinforce any of his other fights, so essentially a unit of direwolves kept that flank busy for, kept that Great Eagle unit busy for the whole game, which was quite good. My second thought is, holy crap, are Elven spells good against my army? If you watch my Dark Elf match that I had a little while ago, his spells were carnaging my zombie units, and now when I face High Elves, my opponent was able to kill 40 to 50 zombies per turn, practically, between his shooting and Tempest and Fiery Convocation. I had a lot of trouble keeping my zombie units alive and kicking. It was quite lucky that I started off with large numbers to begin with, otherwise they would have been blown apart a lot quicker than they have. So yeah, Elven Magic has been very impressive so far. My third thought is, I don't think a giant unit of spearmen as his core was a great choice against undead. Because combat resolution is so deadly against me, I think he would have benefited by having a lot more smaller units and then charging me from different angles. His White Lions were insane in terms of stubbornness, so I can't kill them quickly. If he just charged these white lines into one of my valuable units and then being able to hit that same unit from a few different angles, I think he would have been able to do a lot better than he actually did. But by fielding one giant unit, once I did beat him hard enough on combat resolution, he lost that many points off it straight away. And that ties into my fourth point, as I said earlier, with his stubborn unit there. If he just had a couple of smaller core units to countercharge me in the flank or something like that, I think he could have done a lot better. And lastly, that's to do with my own deployment. I really need to listen to my opponent when they describe their troops or when they're deploying, because I had no freaking idea that those Sisters of Avalon were magical attacks. So I ended up deploying all of my ethereal on that flank, not knowing that they're practically worthless against them. So had I had my choice again, I would have deployed my ethereals to face the white lions or something like that, but definitely as far away from that Sisters of Avalon unit as possible, and that just comes down to me paying attention, I guess. So this is the end of the video. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If we made any mistakes during our gameplay for any rules or how we used our units, please let me know in the comments below. If you liked the video, please click the like button, or better yet, subscribe to my channel. I will be bringing you a few more videos in the next couple of days. I'm Sean from Hammersim. Thank you for watching.